Welcome, adventurer, to the Level Up Board Game Podcast, a show for board gamers by board gamers. Join the heroes as they venture into the world of meeples, cards, and miniatures, with one goal in mind: to level up. You're listening to the Level Up Board Game Podcast.
Hey, welcome adventurers to episode 186 of the Level Up Board Game Podcast. This is just Patrick.
Hey, King Scott here.
And King, it's you and I, you and me, you and I. It's us. It's the two of us, just the two of us yet again. We've got a good episode. We've got the banter as usual, recent plays, the top 100 update. We're going to be reviewing Movers and Shakers, looking back on Super Snipers. We've got some reflections as we're in year 6. We're going to finish up with what we're taking to the meetup. Adventurers, if you're in the Pittsburgh area, we've got a meetup on March 22nd. We're going to be at the Vault in Greensburg. Tons of games available. Oh, dude. So Dylan or Dustin, I get them confused. Whichever one of the two is doing Aspen Coffee. Dylan, Dustin, if you guys are listening, you're both one person now. Dilston, that's what. Dilston is going to be providing Aspen Coffee Company Aspen Coffee Co. coffee at the meetup. And how about this? I was at work and we're cleaning out the break room. They used to have, at our branch of the bank, they used to have a coffee maker that they would keep out front, and they'd have, which you see that often, right?
Sure, yeah.
Those have long since been replaced by Keurigs, but this is like a bun, like triple burner, like it's what we had at the restaurant when I used to work in a national chain restaurant. It's a big old expense. So I was like, I'm going to take that with me. He's going to provide the coffee for the meetup. We're doing this one potluck style. So if you're coming, bring something, bring a shareable dish. We want to have a big old spread for everyone to pick at.
It's going to be pretty awesome. And if I heard the little birdie correctly, I think there's going to be a little table there with board games to be procured.
Yeah, that's right. As it turns out, the garage is overflowing with games that I need to sell. So I messaged let's get this out of the way. March 22nd, 12 to 7 at the Vault in Greensburg. I messaged the guys that run the Vault, and I was like, hey, any chance we can have a table for like us to sell some used games? I know you got a whole bunch from that last flea market that were left over.
Oh, yeah.
I've got a whole bunch because I haven't done the flea market. I just don't feel like listing them online right now. So he said, yeah, sure. So if you're coming, bring some spare cash. We use that to help get the show, keep the show, keep the lights on, right?
That we do.
All right, King, let's dive right into some banter because there's some cool stuff going on. Step 1, Concordia Special Edition. This is Awakened Realms giving the special edition treatment, much like they did to Castles of Burgundy and whatnot. They're doing it to Concordia. You and I played that, November, December? I feel like we had a running game for a month.
And it was one of those ones that I always heard about. I never played, and it just like we sat down and... Now, had you played it before?
Prior to us playing it on BGA, no. In fact, I had, maybe it was Ryan, maybe it was Jeff. One of them taught us how to play because I was like, you know what, this is one of those games that was popular before I got into board gaming, I guess. Well, let's look it up. Let's see, Concordia. This was released 2013, so it was right around the time that I was getting into board games, and it's one that I never actually got to. So I was like, I kind of feel like I need to play this one if I'm going to be doing a podcast about board gaming. So we did, and we played a good bit of it.
Yeah, and it was surprising that I had never played it, and I'm glad I finally came around to it. It's wonderful.
Well, Awakened Realms is giving it their wonderful treatment. You know this is going to be absolutely beautiful to look at. It's going to be amazing on the table. If it's anything like their others. If you look it up right now, it's got a whopping 4.4 rating. Awakened Realms uses AI art in their development of games, and whether or not it's going to make it through to like a final product, I don't know. But anytime, for right or for wrong, anytime AI art is used in a game, BGG slaughters it. Like users, there is nobody devoted to their partner quite like a Board Game Geek user is devoted to logging on, finding the AI art game, and slaughtering it for using AI art. For right or for wrong, I don't care. I'll play it anyway, but it's getting bombed for that.
I'm a big comic book nerd. Okay, I got a bunch of them in. I've always been a Green Lantern fan. There's a new Lantern series coming up. They just released a trailer for it. Everyone is just trashing it complete. This is horrible. I don't believe this crap's coming out. Blah blah blah. I mean, really, in this world, there should be so many more billionaires or trillionaires than there are with the number of people that have the precognitive ability to know how good or bad something is before it's even ever released. It's a shame that they don't use their power for more monetary reason.
Now, wait, I thought where you were going with this is this Green Lantern comic book using AI art?
No. I'm just saying about how they're skewering everything.
How I see.
They could be just using this for placeholders until they actually get artwork in there.
Yeah, whether or not it's a placeholder or not, let's make the assumption, and I don't know this to be true. I'm just saying, playing devil's advocate, if AI artwork is in the final product, that is going to taint it, make it irredeemable, unredeemable, not redeemable for some gamers, and so be it.
Right.
That said, it is getting the special treatment from Awakened Realms. I'll be following that to see if the AI art makes it into the final product.
We shall see. We shall see.
Next up, Mage Knight Emergence, the Portal to Power. This one's coming in 2027. Mage Knight from WizKids, Vlada Chvátil. Scott, have you ever played Mage Knight? I don't think you have you? I know you played the actual, like the original Mage Knights with the little hero click stands, haven't you?
I played the old Clicks game. Yeah, that was good times there. That was like on the verge of a whole new world of gaming there. So yeah, I played that, and then I got into Hero Clicks, but never got into the Vlada Chvátil version.
So the old Clicks games, CLIX, they came out with a game called Mage Knight, and you would get a booster pack of miniatures. It was like a little cardboard box, and you crack open the top, and you can have some miniatures in there, and these miniatures were on a Clicks base. Most of you know what that is. For those who don't, the base of the miniature is actually a dial. It's like a two-part thing, so you can hold the miniature and spin the dial below it, and it's got a little window. The top piece of plastic has a cutout so that like you can see your gunning power and your health and what. Like you take 2 hits, you click it twice to the right, your health went down twice, but maybe your armor got stronger because that's your character ability. Or maybe he went berserk and now he attacks like crazy, like he's a glass cannon. And they had all these. Some of them had like a double base going on. They were riding on mounts and whatnot.
Oh yes.
The game, it was neat. It was fun. I bought some of it, but I was more enamored with Magic. It was more of a passing fad for me. And as it turns out, it seems that way for most people. But the concept of that Clicks base has been used since in several games, including Mage Knight. Mage Knight, I think, is best as a solo game. It can be played, I think, up to 4 people. I only ever played it solo, and it's universally recognized as one of the best solo games. They've got a new version coming out. Whether you're discovering Mage Knight for the first time or adding to a long-standing collection, Mage Knight Emergence delivers meaningful new adventures while preserving the core gameplay that made Mage Knight a modern classic. Mage Knight Emergence expands on the world of Mage Knight with an all-new standalone release that's fully compatible with your existing content. The same deep strategic experience that fans love, now with new heroes, new challenges, and streamlined paths for new players to enter the game. So it's been a while since I played actual Mage Knight, and you know what, the big criticism that it gets, I will echo. The rulebook was just really, really difficult to follow along. Now, they updated it and they made it better with Mage Knight Ultimate. It included the expansions and whatnot. What makes the game awesome is that your hero feels like your hero. You get a little deck of cards. It's a deck building game, effectively. Maybe not as robust as something like, we'll say, Unstoppable, as far as the deck building goes. But you also have your miniature on a map, and then you're discovering new terrains, and you can go dungeon diving, and you can wipe out castles. There's all sorts of things on this map going on. I'm excited to see Mage Knight Emergence. Maybe I can get you in on that. Oh, do we still have a WizKids contact?
I may have to reach out and see if I can get a hold of him.
Yeah, if we can get a hold of this one, I bet that would make for a good review game.
Absolutely.
Nemesis Legacy. You've got to be champing at the bit for this one, King. Humanity is basically gone. Earth is gone. Records are gone. The word gone is apparently not gone. No one here really knows what happened. We try to make sense from scattered files, records, and charts, but to no avail. The intruders have won. Nemesis Legacy is a new installment of the Nemesis horror board game series. It's a standalone campaign game with legacy elements that tells the story of the last human survivors standing against the impossible odds of the intruder terror. In a series of interconnected scenarios, players are going to face irreversible choices that are going to decide the fate of humanity. Will you take a risk and trust strangers in the moment of greatest need, or will your paranoia prevent you from cooperating? After all, no two humans share the same hopes and dreams. Game's going to be full of narrative twists, personal agendas, character customization. The core gameplay rules are going to be based on good old Nemesis and Nemesis Retaliation and whatnot. The campaign and legacy design, you ready for this? Rob Davio's incorporated here.
Oh.
And also Jamie Barriga, who I don't know that name. I looked it up and I didn't notice any other credits. This unique combination of talents results in the first legacy sci-fi survival horror game on the market. This is an insta-buy, like an immediate purchase for me, and I'm forcing you to play through the... It's getting tougher to like sit down and do a legacy type of game, like multiple plays of the same game.
I'm actually looking forward to this. I mean, you look at it, out of the 3 games, only one I'm not a fan of. Mm-hmm. So you're looking at 0.66667 repeating batting average there. So that's not too bad.
Mm-hmm.
In doing this as a legacy game, I'd really like to see where this goes. It seems really quite interesting.
Yeah. All right, King. Tell me. So we haven't been able to play too many games together. Today's review game, in fact, is one that we played together on Board Game Arena because you have been busy. So King was at my house 2 weeks ago on a Sunday, and the plan was we're going to game from like 11 o'clock till 7 o'clock. And Lena and her husband came. Jenny and Jason were there, and it's literally 1 o'clock. You're like, I gotta go. There's snow coming, and I gotta make to Philly. And thank goodness that you did leave when you did, because y'all got like 2 feet of snow. Came back home, and then it's off to Gamma. What's going on at Gamma?
Well, Gamma this year. Okay, I've got to first of all put this out here. I may sound like which one was it? Who was the middle Brady? Was it Peter?
I have no idea.
Yeah, Bobby was the youngest one. Peter was the middle one. I may sound like Peter going through puberty again because I got a little bit of the con crud here from all the retailers and everyone else coming through Kentucky. This year was a little toned down from last year. So for a couple reasons. One, I have given up alcohol for Lent. So
good for you.
You're in the heart of Bourbon County country there. And it's just like, oh, gosh. Not to say I didn't make purchases for after Easter because, I made some purchases. And I'm super excited to try those purchases. But I digress.
You gotta wait.
Gamma was really quite interesting this year. I spent a lot of time at the booth. Berkey was busy running around. I was at the Game Topper booth, working with a lot of retailers, getting the product out to them, signing them up as affiliates to be able to sell the product through them, and really just kind of expand the world of Game Toppers to everyone. Mm-hmm. So that was really exciting. Now, little times I did get to go around. One, Renegade Games right now has the license to print money. They have gotten the rights for Dungeon Crawler Carl. They are going to be doing a role-playing game and our recently hot game Untouchable. They're coming out with Dungeon Crawler Carl. Unstoppable, yes, I'm sorry. Unstoppable, they're doing Dungeon Crawler Carl Unstoppable.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. Basically, that's the license to print money right now. The other one is Bandai.
This is a podcast, right?
Oh, no. This is a book series.
Okay.
And the whole idea behind Dungeon Crawler Carl is that one night Carl is going out to find out where his girlfriend's cat went. And whenever he went out there, all of a sudden, everything around him just got flattened. And big giant speakers came out saying, you now have X amount of time to find an entrance to the dungeon. If not, you will be destroyed. So he finds his way into the dungeon, and thus the adventure begins. Okay. And it's just an ongoing thing of him leveling up and his... why am I drawing a blank here? Damn it. Cupcake? Is it Cupcake?
Is what Cupcake?
Wait. You gotta hold on here.
This one's worth the wait. You know what? I think Will was telling me that he was listening to it. So maybe he was doing books on tape and was listening to it that way. So it's
Prince
not a podcast.
Donut.
Oh, my Lord. You didn't listen to
yes,
what I said.
Yes. Damn it, Donut. That's something that everyone knows about that phrase. So yeah, you have Princess Donut, who is his girlfriend's cat, who launches magic missiles and has as far as I'm going right now, has a pet velociraptor or dinosaur with her as well. Yeah. It's something
the
interesting.
The cat has the pet.
Oh, yes.
It sounds like you've gotten into this. You've read a bit of this, haven't you?
Well, I've gone through the first book. I've listened to it, and I've listened to about the first quarter of the second one. And I think I'm going to be falling down the rabbit hole of this one. So,
all right, point blank, I got to ask you a question. When you listen to a book on tape and you share with someone about the book, do you tell them that you read it?
No, I say I listened to it.
Oh, you're a better man than I am.
Another big thing was Bandai was showing off their Gundam Assemble miniatures game. And just about everyone that came up kept on asking us if we had hex playmats to put on the toppers, because that's going to be the new way that they're measuring things in the Gundam game. So everyone is super excited about that. And once again, Mantic, sons of bitches, they've come out with Noble Team. It's going to be a new box expansion for Halo Flashpoint. Yeah. And this one here is now going to give you new game mode. It's going to be a large game, so you can put two of the boards together to make an even larger game that you're going to be playing now. So that's going to be freaking awesome. And then they showed me a couple other things that are going to be coming out of Gen Con, and damn it. We'll just leave it at that. Yeah, I didn't get a chance to get around to a lot of different things, but there was a nice bit of excitement going on. I know Lena was running wild with the media pass that she had. We'll have to ask her whenever we get her on here again what she did and the adventures she had. But overall, I mean, it looks like it's going to be a great year for gaming once again this year, and a lot of fun things coming out.
You got to be happy to be home, though.
Oh, I am. I'm home for about 3 weeks, but then I'm off to Milwaukee for Adepticon, and then I come right back home and hop in the car and drive out to Philadelphia for another week of work out there.
Hi, this is Bree Goldman from Arcane Wonders. You're listening to the Level Up Board Game Podcast.
All right, it's time to get on with recent adventures. As I mentioned, had a little game day before you headed off to Philadelphia, and among the things that we had the opportunity to play, Lena broke out one that was provided to her from Moon Saga Workshop. It's a game called Loom. Loom is, I don't think it's out yet. She got I think we were playing a preview copy or an early production copy. So this is a 2026 game from Jason Harris, and the artist is Eamon Anderson. Surprisingly, the art is relatively simple. It's an abstract game with tiles, and you're placing little tiles down, creating what by the end of the game looks like a pattern of, I don't know, yarn, whatever it is you use in a loom to make threads connect together. Yeah, it looks like yarn. Okay, let's be honest. It looks like a grid at the end of it. In Loom, players take turns weaving vibrant threads into a growing fiber mosaic. By aligning and connecting different color swatches, players form patterns of loops, weaves, and chains. The more intricate the pattern, the more points it earns. Points are going to be scored as patterns are completed, and the player with the highest score after all of the swatches have been placed is declared the Master Weaver. So the way that it works, you're going to have basically a few squares. So you're going to have one tile in the middle of the board to start the game. That tile is going to have a few things on it, just like every other tile. It's going to have two semicircles, one in each corner. Like not a semicircle, a quarter of a circle, and then one piece of thread connecting those two quarter circles. So it kind of looks like a capital I with curved top and bottom going from corner to corner of a square.
Yeah, okay,
cool. So that is going to be of one of like 5 different colors: red, blue, purple, yellow, green. And the way the game plays is just like this. You ever play the game like when you're bored at school or something where somebody has graph paper and you have to just draw one line from an intersection to an intersection?
Oh, yes.
And somebody else does. And then whenever you close a box, you get to go again. And the idea is like you put your initial inside the box and then you go again.
Yeah.
Okay, so basically as you're placing these tiles, you're going to form circles and squares. Circles at the intersections and squares from tile to tile to tile. You'd kind of have to see a picture, but trust me, that's how it works. When you form a circle, you're going to score some points for having completed the circle, and you'll get bonus points for how many different colors are in the circle. Somebody placed a green tile, somebody placed a red, somebody else placed a blue, and then you finished it off with a green tile. So there are 3 different colors. You're going to get 6 points for closing that circle. You can also score for a chain. It's whenever you have multiple lines of the same color and you place something down that continues that color going off into some direction of the table. You're probably not closing anything off, but it's a chain. Many times you will score a chain and the circle points together. Finally, you can form a square. 4 tiles that don't make a circle in the middle because of the intersection combining, instead could form a square. The length of each tile, again, I can't really, Adventures, I'm sorry, you just got to look at a picture. You got to see it to understand. But eventually you're going to have squares forming as well, and the squares form the same way as the circles. Points for how many colors are in the square. Now you don't get to go again like my graph paper example. So that's the game. Eventually you're going to run out of tiles. Whoever has the high score wins the game. That's it. It's a fantastic little 20 to 30 minute game, I would say. We played 5 players, and we were done in maybe 25 minutes. King, if you had to rank how we all felt about it, I was definitely at the bottom. We talked last week about, what was it, Ghosts Galore. And I was like, you know what, It's a tiling game, but I actually really, really like this. Well, Loom came right along and reminded me that I don't really give a crap about tiling. I was like, well, why don't I just get out a piece of graph paper, do that thing with the pencils, it did nothing for me. Okay, so this is going to sound like I'm crapping on a game, but maybe this just emphasizes that I don't care for tiling. Sometimes while I'm sitting at work and I'm bored, I'll like think up, okay, if I was going to make a game, what would I make? How would I make it? How would I make it work? If my brain came up with this idea and I was like, oh yeah, that's a game, I would immediately tell myself, no, that sounds too simple and kind of boring. I don't think that would work out too well. But they made it, and it is Loom. So take my advice, take my lack of a recommendation with a grain of salt. Lena loves it. She loves tiling. She loves those simple puzzles, things that are quick and easy to play. So it wasn't a Patrick game. Maybe that's my final assessment. It wasn't a Patrick game, but it is one that you can play with a younger group, an older group. Anybody can sit down and play. You're going to a meetup, pack this in your bag. Anybody that comes, whether they game or not, they're going to be able to play it and probably have a pretty good time doing it.
Yeah, Lena loves it. That's her kind of game there. And you have a more over the table, you want to have more negotiation type of thing whenever you're playing a game that you really enjoy. And it's just a matter of, it's not that it's a bad game. It's just that it doesn't hit your sweet spot of what you like.
Not my flavor at all. Maybe just not robust enough. At no point did I feel like I can control my decision. And, like there are better plays than others, but to determine what the best play is usually pretty obvious. Maybe at 2 players, it would be a little more interesting because I can set something up so that you don't get to score, but then you do the same back at me. I don't know. It's just wasn't for me. That said, Lena was on Boards and Brews with Hungry Gamer, and she talked about it a little bit on his show last week, and she seemed to really like it. So if you find that you relate more to the things that Lena likes, then I think you'll probably enjoy Loom. What you got, King?
Well, okay. So, while I was Gamma, I got to play a game. I know, imagine that. I sat down and we played a game with Berkey and 2 of the guys from Neverboard Gaming. We sat down and played a game of Aquatica. This was released in 2019. It's designed by Ivan Tuzovsky. Now, that sounds like an Iron Man villain or a Spider-Man villain there. It truly does.
I ain't fighting him
and published by Arcane Wonders. Thinking of Aquatica, you think of underwater things. So, who came first? Namor the Submariner or Aquaman?
I don't know who Namor the Submariner is. This must be a superhero of some sort.
Oh, yes. He was in Wakanda Forever, Black Panther movie. He was the bad guy in that. He's been in Marvel Comics for years and years. So, which do you think
About how
it
many
was?
years? Okay, and Aquaman is, Jason Momoa?
Yes.
Okay, and obviously that's based on comic books that go further back. Oh, I'm going to guess Aquaman. That seems like the layup of superheroes. Oh, somebody that lives in the water.
Actually, Namor the Submariner came out in 1939, and DC jumped on board with their own underwater guy, and he came out in 1941.
Amazing that a name like Namor the Submariner didn't stick.
Oh, no, it's stuck around since 1939.
Well, that's fine. I've never heard of him.
Well, you're just not in the know. I'm sorry.
I've heard of Aquaman. Jason
no. Because you always hear that in Ted Knight on the Super Friends saying, Aquaman. But anyway, I digress. Aquatica has neither of these two. But it does create an underwater world where your king is trying to bring glory to their kingdom. Now, this is done in an extremely fun way that leads to a tremendously underappreciated game. Now, each player takes a color in their starting hand. These cards will all be the same. Next, you take your trained mantas that match your color. Now, these are really cool little plastic mantas. It's not just cardboard or anything. They're little plastic ones. So it's really quite cool. Now, these will be slightly different and give each person a little bit of a different way to play and get resources. Lay out the character cards at the bottom of the main board, locations in the middle of the board, and you're ready to go. Each turn, you'll play one of the cards in your hand. This will give you money, power, collection of treasure, raising locations, recruiting a character, or returning your cards to your hand. Now, the idea of the game is to collect points through locations. Now, each card you play will allow you to do a certain thing. Gaining money or power are your best friends. These will allow you to recruit characters, to give you more actions and power and money, to get more and more powerful allies in locations. Characters go in your discard pile, waiting to be used in the future turns, while your locations are going to help out in great ways. The board for your locations allowed you to slide your locations in and show the depths. So each one of these cards, there's a little slot on the player board you have. You'll slide it right in there, and there will be anywhere up to 6 different depths on those. Each one of those may give you an extra coin, give you an extra power, give you the ability to raise another card. When you play a card, you can also raise some of your locations, like I just said. When you do, you get the resources shown. Once used, the location rises and that resource is gone. Could be another coin, could be another power, could be the ability to cash in on one of the locations. Now, this is important because some of the locations have empty depths that you will need to be raised by another card. So you grab a ton of locations and just run through the game. Seems pretty simple. No. Your player board only has 5 spots to fill. Then you must score the locations, which you can with one of your cards that you have in your hand. Whenever you score those will go at the top of your board, and you now have an empty space to put a new location. Now, the mantas I spoke of earlier also can give you coins or other benefits, and then are flipped over until they're rested when you return your cards to your hand. You can gather other wild mantas that will give you benefits with extra coins, extra power, as you're exploring other locations. The first person to fulfill the 4 win conditions at the top of the board triggers the end of the game. This was a lot of fun, and it doesn't take long to play. I mean, you're talking probably under an hour. And I'm upset that it took me this long to be introduced to it.
It's one that I've been curious about, and Jimmy got himself a copy, and he said, dude, you need to play this immediately. I said, well, teach it to me. So one of these days, I feel like I'm going to get to it. It's on Board Game Arena, I think.
It is, and I will gladly teach you this weekend. I want to teach, I think Lena wants to get in on it as well. Very, very simple, and I'm hoping to get a copy of it before our meetup and take that with us, teach people how to play this as well.
Now, maybe teach me tomorrow on BGA.
Very well. Now, on a side note, those that like to play on playmats,
you can't help yourself
until the undersea mat comes out from Game Toppers. I got to tell you this. It was not planned as such, but the colors match perfectly to the game board, the cards, everything, and truly envelop you in the world of Aquatica, and it is fantastic.
Tell me, Berkey had this new mat. Was Aquatica Berkey's decision? Let's play this one.
Actually, he just played that for his birthday, which was just at the end of last month, and he loved it so much he wanted to bring it with him. The undersea mat was made just for the idea of fin span, but these two played together was just remarkable. It worked out beautifully.
I like the idea of this sliding up mechanic where you can use cards before they're scored, but more than that, as you're talking about, it sounds like this is an engine builder, isn't it?
Oh my, yes, very much so.
I know you love It's a Wonderful World. Mm-hmm. Would you say that there's any sort of similarity in like the feel of the game? It's relatively quick, building up the engine, trying to meet end game objectives. Like, do you think maybe there's some correlation between the two and your enjoyment of this one?
It's kind of a correlation between that and Concordia, where you have your hand of cards that you play through, but then you have to return them to your hand to play them again, or add new cards to your hand. So it's kind of a mix of those two there.
Okay. No, it sounds like a good one. Maybe tomorrow. Maybe tomorrow I got the day off, so let's hit it up. It's a dog merchant. Hello, loves. It's the dog merchant just popping in here to say it's the last day for you back Lunar Rush Innovations, and this has a special place in the heart of the Level Up Board Game Podcast because Skippy, the designer, and also who I like to call the Chief of Corn and Peanuts, is the designer, and Navigator Lena officially has scored the lowest score ever in the history of the game. Last day, get it? It's a blast. A bigger blast than after Patrick has Taco Tuesday, if you know what I mean. Yeah. But it's Dog Merchant. This was the Dog Merchant. The Dog Merchant. Let's do one more. We're going to revisit one. Now, we take pride, actually, in having a lot of new games to talk about. Early on, one of the worries when we took on, like, okay, are we going to do a podcast? Yes. Okay, how are we going to get a review game every single episode? And we've only had trouble a couple of times. Like, okay, how are we going to get one in? You do this one solo or run this one with Josh. But there's also the worry of like, okay, we did Tapestry for a review. How long do we have to wait until we can talk about it again? And we try to keep things as fresh as possible, but sometimes it's just, man, it feels so right to hit on a game that we've talked about before when, frankly, the best games, I think people are okay with hearing about them again. And one made it back to the table after we finished playing Loom. We got in a game that what do we have? Like an hour and a half left. It's like, I got it. It's perfect. Broke out Moon Colony Bloodbath.
Oh,
Lena
yes.
had not played it. Jason hadn't played it. I think I was the only one at the table who had played it before. And I was like, guys, you're going to love this. It's so ridiculously simple. Moon Colony Bloodbath. This was our review. Oh, my goodness. So I'm talking about a game that we're literally going to talk about next episode at our look back. Did not plan that one ahead. Nonetheless, broke it out at our game day just a week and a half ago. And I got to teach this one to the gang. And man, this game's so good, King. Okay, so Moon Colony Bloodbath takes about an hour to play, plays 2 to 5. I think it's got a solo mode, but that's a moot point for now. So Moon Colony Bloodbath, the way the game works is just like this. Everybody's going to have some starting resources. You got some food, you got some money, and you've got some people. And the objective of the game is to keep your people, have the moon colony that actually works, because you know what? They don't work in this game. You play as a scientist who has decided that, you're claiming that you can make a moon colony that works. You can't. But neither can the other players. Everybody's going to have all sorts of unforeseen disasters as they're building up their moon colony. So here's what happens. You start the game, you get some food, you get some money, and you get some cards in your hand, and you've got a whole bunch of people. In order to win, you've got to be the person that has the most people on your colony when somebody's eliminated. And somebody gets eliminated because they run out of people. Their colony failed. And the game's kind of played simultaneously, and it works like this. You got a shared deck of cards in the middle of the table. And in that deck, you're going to have 4 cards that let players take an action. And that's pretty simple. You can farm. That's get some more food. You can go mining. That's get some more ducats. And you can do a number of other things, including research, for example. It's where you're going to be drawing some more cards. You can build, and builds the opportunity to put new things on your moon colony. For example, if I build a mine, then from now on, whenever I take the mine action, instead of getting, say, $4, maybe I get $6 because my mine helps me. Buildings also have a number of people that they provide, which will become relevant, I guarantee you, before the game's over. You're going to flip a card off the top of that shared deck and do what it says. Again, 4 of the cards are giving you an action, but the other cards are going to be, one of them is just a straight up bad thing, and the other 2 say add an event. And when you add an event, you go to the event deck. It's a little side deck. It's only 13 cards. You take event number 1 and you put it face down on the top of the shared deck. And then for the next turn, you just flip that over. Newsflash. The events are basically all bad. They're all bad. There might be 1 or 2 that are decent, but generally speaking, they function as a timer to assure that, yes, everybody's moon colony will eventually end in disaster. You're going to get through that shared deck of cards and you're going to run out. So what do? You shuffle it all together. You rebuild the deck and you start all over from the very top. Flip the top card and do what it says. You've got ways to make the game your own, namely in that you're building things that you're going to have that nobody else is going to have that are going to give you some asymmetric abilities. I'll give you an example. One of the starting cards in that starting deck is called Work. And I think that's draw 1 card, but then discard 2 cards. Remember, cards are relevant because those are the buildings. That's how you're building out your moon colony. That's how you're building out your tableau. And for endgame purposes, that's how you're getting a lot more people to work with. Well, the Work card assures that most people aren't going to have a hand of cards. And even if they do, it's not going to be there very long. Well, I built a building early on that said I got to ignore the Work card, that's insane. Now, granted, the building's expensive. Other people's buildings let them get more food. They'll let them get more money. I didn't have those benefits, but I would always have a hand of cards because I got to ignore the Work card. That's something that I got to do in this play that I'm not going to get to do in another play. Jenny across the table. The mines, they're yellow cards. She had like 3 mines out by the second time we were through the deck. So anytime we got to go to work, I think I said it was the Work card. The Work card is the one that lets you take an action. The other one, I'm just confusing the titles of it. It's irrelevant. Mm-hmm. Anytime Jenny would mine, she would get like 7 or 8 coins. So she was able to spend, but she was discarding cards from her hand because of that other card in the deck. I'm going a mile a minute because this game's so much fun. Everybody had their own tableau of buildings that would give them a unique bit of actions and abilities as we would go through that shared deck. Now, as the game continues, eventually the events say add a robot. Now, this one, I'm sure of it. Robots are all terrible. There is not a good robot in there. They're going to say things like lose 4 people. Lose 6 people. And as you continue to add new events and add new robots, they're all just slaughtering your people. And I mean, it makes sense. Like one of them was a stacking robot. And the stacking robot, it's like lose 2 people. And it's like, wait a minute, the stacking robot. Oh, he dropped the heavy container. There's like this robot forklift that just smashed a couple people in your moon colony. Things ain't working out the way you want. Eventually, what's going to happen is you're going to run out of people. You're not going to have any more people to sacrifice whenever one of those events or robots comes out. So what do you have to do? You lose a building. So let's take Jenny, for example. She built that mine that's letting her get extra coin every time she mines. If an event comes up that says she has to lose 5 people, but she only has 2, she's got to sacrifice a building. So we'll say that she sacrifices that mine. And that mine has a little emblem in the top left that shows 4 people. She gets 4 people token. They're no longer working in the mine. She got rid of it. And now she can pay the cost of the robot or event that says lose 4 people. She has enough now. Eventually, she's going to run out of buildings to sacrifice to pay for the people that she has to pay when the events and the robots come out. And eventually, somebody is going to not have enough. That's when the game ends. People are going to count up, okay, how many people tokens do I have? And how many people do I still have manning my buildings? Whoever has the most wins the game. Scott, I won by 2. I think it was down to 2 people. Me and Jason, it was. We don't normally care about winning, but it was just such a fun game. Everybody was really getting into it. And every time you flip one of those cards, and you say, okay, it's a robot. Everybody lose 6 workers. The whole table goes, oh. But it's fun because you're kind of sharing that experience together.
Yeah, I agree. I don't want to go too much into this here because since we're going to talk about it next time. But yeah, it's one that I think whenever we first saw it, we weren't expecting much, but it was a pleasant surprise.
Yeah, and I get the feeling that for me, for my collection, it's going to be the one that always stays because it's got plenty of meat for that 1 hour time frame. I don't think I've ever been disappointed after a game of Moon Colony Bloodbath.
Absolutely not. He waved at me. He didn't forget me this time. I feel so special. I haven't been here for a while, and he remembered me.
Carl cares.
Carl, yes, he does.
Top 100 update. Prime Movers Endeavor Deep Sea is up 4 spots, 4 to number 89. You know, Lena's had that for like a year and a half and still hasn't taught us.
Unacceptable.
No debuts in the top 100, but we do have a little switcheroo in the top 10. Dune Imperium Uprising is at number 6. Twilight Imperium is at number 7. Little switcheroo. I know. New highest peaks. Dune Imperium Uprising at number 6. The Lord of the... You know what? A side note, that's not cool. Dune Imperium Uprising and Dune Imperium taking up 2 slots in the top 6 games of all time. Come on.
I agree. That is kind of weird because the differences between the two, there's not a huge difference between them. Yeah, I think there's a little shenanigans there.
It kind of makes me wonder how come Brass Birmingham and Brass Lancashire, they're like 1 and maybe 20. You'd think they'd be a lot closer together like the Dunes are.
Yeah.
Lord of the Rings, Duel for Middle-earth is up to 21. Clank Catacombs 52. Ticket to Ride Legacy Legends of the West, number 54. King, that's looking like it could crack the top 50.
Wow, yeah.
Harmonies at number 57. Great Western Trail New Zealand at 78. Voidfall at 87. Wingspan Asia at 88. And Endeavor Deep Sea at number 89. Happy birthday! For 1 year in the top 100, we've got Harmonies and Wingspan Asia. 2 years for Hegemony, lead your class to victory. 4 years for Arc Nova, which I think we mentioned a few episodes ago. I was like, do you think it's ever going to hit number 1? It is really close. They are like 0.0 decimals off from one another. I get the feeling that before this year's over, we might see Arc Nova take the 1 slot. Marvel Champions the card game 6 years, and Gloomhaven, speaking of number 1s, former number 1 Gloomhaven, 9 years in the top 100.
Good stuff. Hey adventurers, today we're going to choose to do our 8-bit breakdown on Movers and Shakers, designed by Paulo Soledad and Nuno Bizarro Santiero, and published by Quind Games. It is not yet in players' hands, but will be released later this year. In Movers and Shakers, you're playing the part of a railroad baron in India in the early 1900s. In order to win the game, scoring is based upon fulfilling contracts, making deals with regional agencies, making investments, and improving their overall performance. Well, Scott, how does one do that? I'm glad you asked. This is a game that is difficult to learn in one play. It is one that you have to go in for a couple plays, kick the tires, and check the oil before you start to get comfortable with your performance. The game is split into 2 rounds, each round having 2 phases. So, the round. First, you go through the logistic phase. This is when you choose a card to play. These will allow you to make investments, move trains, and load train cars. When placing cards, the player boards allow you to make a choice. Will you perform your action with a development action, allowing you to gain money or make investments, or a logistics action that will allow you to move your trains to deliver the all-important goods? To get goods to the ports, you must take the train. These are not long trains. Why is that important? Well, allow me to share you a little secret. When adding goods to a train, you can add 1 per train car. That means you can load them to an opponent's train as well. When moving them, you will have a number of movement actions. In doing this, you can move a train if there is one in front of you. You can move that one as well, thus moving a lot of goods that are hopefully yours to be unloaded. Once you have filled all of your play spots, it is time for the administration phase. This is made up of 4 parts. First, you will see who has loaded the most crates on the ships available. Next, you will get money based upon the rates you have negotiated at the 2 ports. The markets cannot stay the same, so you must now adjust the markets to the lowest of your 3 markets. You have one at 6, one at 4, and one at 3. Guess what? You're moving everything back to 3. All that hard work. Finally, you invest in your company. This will give you benefits for you to profit from your hard work you finished in round 1. Lather, rinse, repeat for round 2, and then calculate the winner. This is one that's gotten into Patrick's and my heads lately. Now let's put some thought and words into what we thought about movers and shakers. Well, adventurers, it's that time for our 8-bit breakdown. We're going to take a look today at movers and shakers. So why don't we move and shake our way to the 8-bit breakdown, huh, Patrick?
You know what? Bit number 1, King. Let's dive right into this one. The art and components. I know you and I, we played on BGA. So we had and I think for most folks, that's the only way to play right now. There are some reviewers that may have gotten a physical copy. I had to watch some video to get a hold of the physical copy. And I tell you what, the trains that look like just little rectangle color blotches on BGA are actual train cars.
That they are.
Plastic and you can put the chunky wooden bits on the car. It's got a big old box that looks like the Carnegie box. It struck me like Carnegie, Barrage. It's mostly iconography, not a whole lot of art, but the graphic design makes the game easy to play and intuitive, so I appreciate that. And the bits of art that we do get, I thought was pretty well done. The box looks great, for example.
Yeah, it really does. It comes across as like almost like a book you would have on a bookshelf, one of those leather-bound volumes you'd have there.
It's classy.
Yeah, absolutely. I would like to see a series of games done like this, so I could have them up on my game shelf. Just boom, 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 like I have a big library there.
Well, you know, this is the Quinted box, like the Carson City Black box, like the Carnegie Kickstarter box. I bet you this is the exact same size. They wouldn't look like books like Tortuga and some of those games did, but they would. Right, I think they're all the same size anyway.
Yeah, the art and components, I look at this. This is one of those boards that are very busy. You have icons all over the place. It's ridiculous. Until you've played a couple times and you know what they are. Getting to the point where you know where things are and what they do may be a bit of a slog, but in this case, I think it's definitely a benefit. You really get to the point that the game moves very smoothly and you really appreciate the game for what it is. And I think it would fail if it did not have all the iconography.
Busier board, this or Covenant?
Oh, I think Covenant still holds the record for that one.
I agree. I just had to throw that out there. Let's talk bit number 2, theme and immersion. All right, Scott, get this. In the late 19th century, Bengal became a key hub for railway expansion in British India, surpassing earlier developments elsewhere in the country. The East Indian Railway Company led the charge, beginning with the, I'm going to butcher this, Hora Holi line in 1854. Driven by strategic economic and export needs, the rail network rapidly spread across the region. By century's end, Bengal had one of India's most extensive and vital railway systems, powering both commerce and colonial control. In Movers and Shakers, you play as a railway magnate in 19th century Bengal, competing to transport goods, fulfill contracts, and invest your profits wisely. So that's the theme. I feel like you crack open the box, you start play, and that's about where the theme ends.
I disagree.
Yeah.
I really feel that this is one of the times that I feel that both work hand in hand. Transferring the goods throughout India and using others to do the work for you may seem unfair because a lot of times you're going to load up your trains, but someone else is going to end up pushing your trains further along. Balancing your train's movement, loading of ships, and the decisions when playing your cards, it really does make me feel like I'm an investor and baron of that time. And I really enjoyed that.
Maybe I'm focusing too much on the card play and the actual, we'll say, the mechanisms within to allow myself to get soaked into the theme of the game. But it felt more to me like pulling levers and counting.
Mm-hmm. Well, in all fairness, I mean, whenever we play games, you look at things, and I've said this 100 times, you get that beautiful mind thing there going where you're sitting there and you see like hypotenuse and a square root thing flying through the air, and you're mathing everything out.
Hypotenuse.
Ooh. Yeah. And I'm the one that's sitting there going, oh, look, it's a choo-choo. And I'm making a story out of the whole thing. So it kind of shows how the difference is, how we're looking at it.
Let's talk complexity. This one struck me. You know what? I had teacher Ryan teach this one to us because I was like, I don't know. I'm kind of afraid that this is going to be a little difficult for me to learn. But man, the bark was a little bit bigger than the bite. This was surprisingly easy to play considering how deep the game is. You pick a card to play. You play it to your tableau. You either select to activate logistics or investments, carry out the actions on the card, and boom, you got this. You understand the complexity of the game. Did you think where I would put it just slightly above medium weight? Like, I don't think it's a heavyweight.
I don't think it's a heavyweight, but I think it's a little more complex than just the midweight one due to the number of choices you have during your turn. What card are you going to play? What slot are you going to play it in? Now, are you going to take the top action or the bottom action? Which assets are you going to increase? So each of these choices make for a complex game, but one that makes you feel that you really accomplished something when you're finished. So everyone has pretty much the same actions to take, but you have so many things that will, like off ramps that will go in different directions depending on what you want to do. So it really makes it a little more complex. On paper, it seems like, oh, you do this, 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 and this. But I think it gets more complex in trying to figure out which one is going to give you the most bang for your buck out of your turn.
Yeah, the first time that we were playing, I even said to Ryan, we're all chatting. So we're playing on Board Game Arena, and Ryan's in New Jersey. We're over this way. So we're all just communicating via audio. And I was like, wow, I feel like I'm doing all these things because a turn is very robust. You get to do a lot of things in a turn. And yet I was like, I'm not sure yet why I'm doing what I'm doing. Like trying to connect the dots to figure out what am I yielding if I do this? And why do I want to yield that? And how does that turn to points? It takes a little bit of time. And maybe that's where the complexity comes in. The actual, how do I perform actions in a turn? That's quite simple. Some games, how do I perform an action? They're difficult. They can be very restrictive. We'll take barrage, for example. Well, you need to have concrete. In order to have concrete, there are cement workers. They're already on that dial and they're not back yet. Well, how do I turn the dial? Well, you have to place workers, but the one slot's already taken, so you could take the 2 slot, but that one costs coin. None of that is in here. So I would think complexity, ease of gameplay, I would put it medium, but I would say why you're doing what you're doing and the actual the complexity, the taxing of the brain maybe is where it starts to approach that heavy territory.
Yeah, I think that's probably the best way of saying it, yes.
Did either of us do the rule book?
I did not.
Neither did I. So why don't we chat on the learning curve? So as much as the complexity is surprisingly not as intense as I thought it would be, the learning curve does make up for it a bit. And we started to dabble into that into complexity. For one, King, there is a bit to remember about when you can attach rail cars, when you must push another train down the track, where you reset your various markers at the beginning of a round to that sort of thing. There are some simple, finicky things to remember, but the tough part is connecting, like I said, all the dots to optimally produce points. You don't score any points during the game, technically, so you're going to be mathing out how to go about selecting actions that are going to fulfill your contracts and produce big investment payoffs for points. And honestly, I feel like I'm still learning that. It's deep.
Yeah, we learned from Ryan, and as always, it was a great teach, but you can't end it there. You have to go back and play it again and again. Finally, by the third time, you really should know enough how to be dangerous and play this game. And it's going to be a couple more after that until you get to the point that you feel accomplished in how you're playing the game.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is a bit of a first impressions review. I think we're both on our 3rd or 4th play. Normally we give games a little bit more than that before we make them a feature review. But let's hit this one up. I'm not there yet, as far as like feeling like I'm dangerous and know how to connect all the dots. Like I'm having a really good time still exploring the different actions and the order in which to take them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Where's the meat in the game, Scott? Bit number 5. Let's talk meat.
Okay, my meat of this game, I feel, is the choosing of, are you going to take the top or bottom action when you play a card? Now, on your player board, you play a card, and then you have a choice of the logistics or, I forget what the resources.
I think it's investments.
Investments at the very bottom. Once you make that choice, that one choice is the first and most dramatic that will guide your turn. Once that decision is made, you just follow the flow of where the turn tells you to go. But that first step is such a doozy whenever you take it, because once you decide that's the direction I'm going to go, that's going to take everything in a different direction for your scoring at the end of the game and everything like that. So you really have to time things and make sure you're making the most advantageous move possible at that point.
And it's hard to do. You have, 6? You've got a number of cards in your hand. 6, right? I can't remember off the top of my head. We're going to say 6. You've got 6 cards in your hand, and you've got 6 slots on your tableau. So on turn 1, you've got like 36 different options. Oh, and every card can be played to top or bottom, so you can double it. It's like 72 options on turn 1. Really, you have an option of pick one of these 6 cards, pick one of these 6 spaces to put it on, and you're going to activate the top or the bottom. But the implications of what that means as far as the number of decisions that you have on turn 1 are pretty tremendous. And you kind of have to have an idea when you do something. Okay, what does that mean that I'm going to do next turn? Like, obviously you're going to want to load cargo before you start moving cars. There's no sense just pushing them down the track just cause. Okay, so that's going to narrow it down a little bit. Now which slot do I want to play it in? Oh, and whenever I put it in a slot, do I want to activate my logistics or my investments? That is so meaty. And knowing that those options get smaller and smaller, when you're down to just 2 slots left on your player board.
Yeah.
Let's give a bigger picture. This is a 12-turn game. There's 2 rounds, and in a round, you're going to make 6 plays, playing a card to a slot. Right then and there, that tells you every single decision carries a lot of weight. On top of that, when you fill out a slot, say on turn 1, and then on turn 2, then on turn 3, now it's turn 4, you've got only 3 slots remaining. You've only got a few cards left. Whichever card you play, you know what your other 2 options are going to be in those last 2 turns. So like the order of operations becomes very important. And like you said, it's all centered around that card play. Which one am I going to pick? Which slot am I going to go to? And which am I going to activate, my investment or my logistics? I thought that was what made the game tick.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Let's talk replayability and variability as we move on to bit number 6. What do you think?
Okay, whenever it comes to this, all I can think of is, were you not listening to me? Each turn, you have to make all sorts of decisions. Now, granted, the information you're going to be playing with won't change that much, but you will want to make different decisions each time you play to see how that game will change. Because each time you make a decision, whether it's going to be the logistics or the investments, it's going to be a completely different game from then on out. So, yeah, if you, like you said, if there's 72 different choices you can make, right there, you have about 72 different times you can play this game, and it's not going to be the same game. So, yes,
sure.
There is both.
And we mentioned that this is a tactical game. Most turns, like, you're not going to hit turn 3 or turn 5 and have the same setup or the same questions presented to you as you had last game or the game before that. So we'll say the shifting variables around the decision that you make are what make it interesting and replayable. This isn't something where you're going to have different story cards. You know what I mean? You're not going to open up a different room in the dungeon or have a different character to play as. The replayability comes in what are people doing? And for that matter, because of that, I think that player count matters. You know, it's a very different feel in a 2-player game than we've had in our 3 and 4-player games.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Because the number of trains that are going and who's going to push and who's going to block people, that really makes a big, big difference.
Bit number 7, we talk downsides. Every game's got some things that people might not like. For me, I kind of felt the theme was dryly implemented, and I just put got AP, like the got milk. Like we said, there's a lot of upfront decisions. There's a lot to consider. So if somebody is prone to analysis paralysis, or put more gently, they very carefully consider all of their options in any given turn, you can probably listen to a full song before it comes back to you. What do you think about, King? Downsides to movers and shakers.
Okay, so the 3 or 4 times you have to play in order to get everything straight in your head, it feels like a television show that everyone tells you is fantastic, but you have to make it through the first season for it to get really good. You are going to go through that where you're going to be like, this kind of sucks. But as you go through and you play a little bit more, you're going to start realizing the intricacy of all your decisions and everything. So you got to make it through those first few games to get to the point where you see it's really good. And also, this is another one that it's okay on BGA, but I think this one is going to really shine once you have a physical copy on the table. That way you can really just sit back, look at the whole board at one time, just kind of take everything in and look and make your map in your head as to how you want to do things. With the BGA, you kind of have to scroll up and then back down and then over here and here. And it's one of those things where, yeah, you get the feeling of the game, you enjoy it, but it's not the same as actually having the physical copy on your table.
BGA has a knack for giving you okay, now I understand how to play and I understand the mechanisms of the game, but you don't get that full picture. You don't get to... I don't know that I've ever gotten immersed, so to speak, in a game because I played it on Board Game Arena. It's very different on a screen. Every game is very different on a screen than on a table.
Truly, yes.
Was it fun, and who's it for? Ultimately, this is what we're looking at. King, was it fun, and who's it for?
Yes, it is a fun game. This, I feel, fits a nice place in a person's collection. Much like Brass or London or Turns and Taxis, a game that you may not play that much, but it's a great experience each time you revisit it. Now, it might be one you want to revisit a little more often so you can keep the rules kind of straight in your head, but still it's one that's going to kind of occupy that bottom left corner shelf of those games that you really like, but you don't get a chance to get them out that often, but they're still there and they're just waiting to be played again.
I enjoyed my time with it plenty. You know what? I don't know that a year from now, this is one that I'm going to look back and say, oh, yeah, I kept on playing it. It's a fine game. The big differentiator in the game is that you play the card to the tableau and you decide whether you're taking the logistics or the investment payoff of the card slot. That's fun. That's meaty. But aside from that, I don't know that the game did enough for me to set it apart from other relatively dry Euros, my words. Who's it for? Well, have a look at your shelf. You know, if you've got those games that don't ooze theme, but they really tax your brain. We're talking games like Carnegie, which I'm probably only referencing because it's also Quidditch games, but you can't help but draw the correlation. Okay, thematically, but it does put your brain to task. If that's the kind of thing that you like, then I do think you're going to really enjoy Movers and Shakers. All right, King, 1 year ago today, we had the opportunity to play and review Super Snipers. This one comes from Galen McCown, our buddy Galen, who's hooked us up with all those great Mint Tin games that we've been hooting and hollering about. Super Snipers is a bit more robust. This is a bigger box. This is a fully fleshed out heads-up, one-on-one duel of snipers. 1 year later, how you feeling about it?
This is one that still occupies a fun spot in my mind. It's such a unique kind of puzzle game, and whenever you stop and think about it, it makes sense that this puzzle works out with you being this cybernetically enhanced sniper trying to find the other sniper on another building, and how you narrow everything down. And I think this was a great place for him to kind of plant his flag and say, hey, I'm here, and now start building more and getting more of the Mint 10 games and more games out. It's a lot of fun. I mean, I've had it out a couple of the times playing solo. Yeah, I get my head plastered all over the back of the building that I'm hiding in as I'm putting my air quotes in the air, good radio. But yeah, Super Snipers, it's one that's very, very cool and worth going back and revisiting.
Yeah, if you commonly play two-player games, you and a spouse, you and a buddy, this one's going to be unique compared to many of the others. There is a nice tension as you're putting those little Tetris shapes around, trying to narrow in on your target and follow all the placement rules. You get little power-ups and bonuses. First one to get 3 kills wins the game. If you're falling behind, you get power-ups too, so there's like a compensation mechanic. All in all, great game. Easy recommend if you commonly play 2 players. I think you're going to get a kick out of it.
Yeah, and this is one that I still want to try and get a 4-player out of it. And just the idea of trying to pick out everyone on different buildings is just insane.
Well, 1 year later, sounds like we're both given the recommendation for Super Snipers.
That we are. Hey adventurers, King Scott here, and just taking a moment to talk about our great sponsor, Game Toppers. That time is here once again, and it's time for con season to begin. We just finished one up with Gamma Expo this past weekend, and boy, I gotta tell you, there are some amazing mats coming out. You can still late pledge to Game Toppers Kickstarter 5.0. Go on there and take a look at the great Ryan Lockett artwork mat, or my personal favorite for a new favorite game of mine, Aquatica, that you can play on the undersea mat, which is just absolutely gorgeous. Add on to that the cup holders, the different sizes of tables. You'll be able to upgrade your gaming experience anywhere you go. To a convention, to a friend's house, on vacation, heck, even camping. Yes, I've done it. So be sure to go and check out all the great products and the special tax refund sale going on right now at www.gametoppersllc.com.
King, before we close up today, a couple things to go over. We wanted to do a quick, some level up reflections, things that I just wanted to share with adventurers really briefly. Number 1, YouTube is up and running. Thanks again to John and Jeff. Woo-hoo! If you're listening on YouTube, that's awesome. It's certainly early, so downloads on YouTube are teeny tiny. We're not trying to compete with people that actually get a lot of YouTube reviews. It's not recorded video. It's a very well done, we'll call it a slideshow? A still with slides inserted?
But I want to know, is it teeny tiny or itsy bitsy or teensy weensy?
Well, that's about where our downloads are right now, and that is A-okay. The point is, you have the opportunity now to listen to us on YouTube. Please check it out. Give us a listen on there. Let us know what you think. I will say a lot of hard work was put into making it a reality.
Absolutely.
Thanks again to John and Jeff.
Yes.
Number 2, and this I'm only putting this in here. King, there's a bit of a mess between 2 content creators lately. It's kind of a media thing. I don't know that most people know about this, but if you're on Board Game Geek and in the files regularly, you probably know what I'm referring to. There was an issue with one last year too, but in both of these instances, it occurred to me, it came down to money and the way that content creators are charging publishers and whatnot, and trying to make more money. And, we stopped tooting our horn about it because I think it came off as pompous. But frankly, for you and I think it is a point of pride that we don't charge a nickel to any publisher. More often than not, our review game is simply one that we wanted to play. Yes, sometimes it's a game that a publisher provided us, but aside from a free board game, we don't get anything. And honestly, a board game is like $50, and we got to play it a handful of times, write down our thoughts, record, edit, and pour like hours and hours of time into a feature review. So needless to say, like the free game is not exactly exciting. Further, we don't do a Patreon. We don't run a Kickstarter. There's literally zero financial incentive for us. We do it because we love doing it and because we have way too much free time on our hands.
At times, yes.
Now, we do consider Game Toppers a sponsor, but honestly, it's because we're fans of Berkey and we want to help him out. He's got a product line that we believe in, so we're happy to share about it. Full disclosure, we've been provided one table. Scott has a job. Scott's otherwise unemployable, so maybe that's where maybe that's where the sponsorship part comes in. But realistically, it's just neat to say sponsored by, or more so than we're actually getting any sort of monetary kickback. That's the same with Brown Castle too. They're good people. Their boards are cream of the crop, so it's easy to hype them up. And full disclosure, we traded them one time to get a Brown Castle board. Mm-hmm. Other than that, it's they give a nice discount to listeners. We enjoy having them and having a partner in them more so. Like there's nothing financial about it. Now, that's not to take anything away from podcasts and YouTube channels that do earn money for their content or raise funds from their listeners. There's nothing wrong with that, and I'm fully behind someone that wants to get compensated for doing it.
Yeah.
We did just want to take a moment and plant our flag in that, we are proud to be in year 6 and not having asked publishers or listeners or anyone for any sort of money and to still be going strong. We hope that means something for our integrity.
Yes, I feel more integritous already.
Very integrified. All right. One more note then. Shill time. What we will ask you for, adventurers, is to share the show. If you see a Facebook or an Instagram post of ours, share it. Are you listening to the show on YouTube? Give it a thumbs up. More than anything, though, we are way behind other shows as far as like iTunes and Spotify reviews go. So if you do want to support Level Up, that's honestly the best way to do it. Take a minute of your time. Give us that 5-star review on iTunes or the top score on whatever platform you're listening to us on. When someone searches Board Game Podcasts, King, I actually looked it up and I was like, why do we even care? It's because when someone searches a Board Game Podcast or they open up their podcast app and they just type in Board Game, the shows that have higher review scores, or for that matter, shows with more reviews in general, they get pushed to the top and they're more likely to be found. So if you want to spread Level Up and help us get some more adventures, that's the best way to do it. And it would mean a ton to us. We're approaching year 6. We're approaching 200 episodes. Hundreds of games have been featured on the show. We've given away hundreds of games at conventions and meetups. We've done our local meetups at some great game stores, pizza shops, coffee shops. We're featured guests at PGX. Like at this point, I feel like we want to take that next step. We are looking to see those downloads jump tremendously this year. We want more adventures in the Discord. Heck, it'd be kind of cool to be nominated for a Golden Geek Award. But absolutely, we're going to be needing your help, and it all starts with sharing Level Up. Friend asking for board game advice, wondering where you learn about so many games, someone on Reddit asking what your favorite podcasts are. Please tell them. Level Up.
I've got to add on to that last bit there, and this is... Now, you can call this stupid or anything, and I just want to add this on to this last part here, but last year when we were at PAX, I was back in the little office area of Game Toppers, and I was talking to somebody back there, and somebody walked past, and they're like, wait, I know that name, that voice. And then I came out, and they're like, are you with Level Up? I'm like, yeah, you're King Scott. Yeah. It was just one of those moments that, like, it seems really innocuous or whatever you want to call it, but it meant the world to me at that moment. I mean, I was tired. It was like near the end of the show. I was tired. I was worn out, but that gave me that little bit of energy to keep going and just did so much to pump up my soul and everything, my energy, everything for that day, just for someone to say, I recognize that voice, and that someone listens to us, and that means the world to us. It truly, truly does.
You know what's funny is that happens for you a lot more than happens for me. But I've had I was wearing the Level Up, one of our Level Up shirts one time, and Rando at a convention was like, hey, I listened. Are you part of the show, or do you just have the shirt? I was like, oh no, I'm Pat. He said, oh, that's the voice. What's funny is that I think an adventurer seeing us is, it's like, oh, that's kind of cool. I met one of the guys from the show. On the other hand, for us to meet a listener is like,
Oh my God.
It's like this miraculous, like, that does so much more for me than I'm sure it means to them. Like, I always thought, oh man, it'd be really cool to like meet up with Jamie at Secret Cabal meetup and get to meet this guy. That'd be so cool to do. But I'm sure he would say the same. Like, it is so much cooler for us to get to
Yes.
to have somebody randomly walk up and be like, hey, I appreciate what you guys do.
Absolutely.
Oh, I fooled you. That's the end of the episode of music, but we're not quite there yet. King, we've got a meetup coming up on the 22nd. I thought it'd be really neat to go over some of the games that we're taking to the meetup and why. Adventures, we've all been there. You're hosting a game day or you're going over to a board game retreat. You're going to the cabin in the woods. You're going to play some games. You got to figure out what's going in the bag and why. And I you know what? I've always been kind of curious too, because I've never actually asked you why you pack the things you do and why you bring the things you do. Is there some reasoning behind it? Because I do have reasoning for the things that I put in my bag, and I'm curious. What are you bringing with you? We got our meetup on the 22nd. We're going to be at the Vault in Greensburg from 12 to 7. What games is King Scott bringing? Let's go back and forth. Give me a game and tell me why you're bringing it.
Okay. Well, so the first game I'm going to be bringing is Plunder: A Pirate's Life. And the reason for that is it's a brand new game I got from Gamma from Lost Boy Entertainment. They were kind of diagonal from our booth there. We're busy shooting back and forth, talking about stuff and everything. And he goes, you know what? At the end of the show, stop by. I'll give you a game to take home. And I said, well, we got a show. We'll do it. And he's like, that's wonderful. Even better. So I can't wait to get the rules learned. It looks pretty simple. It looks great on the table. And can't wait to get that out there and teach a bunch of people how to play Plunder.
That does look good on the tail. I'm pulling it up as you're talking about it. I'm like, well, I want to fiddle with these bits.
Yes.
King, a thing happened.
Oh, okay.
You'll recall, what it was 6 months ago when we were talking, you were on your way to your, God, that was more than 6 months ago before you went to Essen. That was like 7 or 8 months now. God, we're approaching a year. One of the games that I put on the I really want to learn more about this is Aquaria.
Oh,
Aquaria
yes.
is from Tomas Holek, and it's from Capstone. And we love Capstone, so I was like, oh, man, I just got to talk to Chris, and I'll be able to get a hold of this. And I've seen Chris like 3 times, and I haven't been able to get a hold of it. But finally, I got the email, and I was like, this is the one that I want. I don't want anything else you got. I think I have everything else that they were offering for review. I was like, please send me this. I promise you it'll be a review game in the very near future. Finally got it. And I don't know if maybe Lena had to twist his arm to make it happen, but it's happened. It's set up on my table right now. I just got to get it learned. And that's going to be the incentive is once I have it learned, then I'll be able to teach it to people that come to the meetup. So I thought, well, it's kind of new, kind of relevant. It's from a designer that burst onto the scene. Might be the new greatest thing to happen to gaming. They're always like most innovative board game. Thomas Holek. so that's why Aquaria is coming with me.
As we're going for the AQ words in the Board Game Geek library, I'm going to hopefully have a copy of Aquatica to take with us so I can actually teach you in person if we don't get everything done on BGA. It's just such a great looking game as well. And they have a bunch of expansions, and they just came out with a new dual version as well.
King, as you were explaining that, I was double checking my Facebook post for board games that I have listed for sale. Uh-huh. Back at Origins, you remember I bought a game from Arcane Wonders, so I got a ticket for their raffle.
Oh, yeah. You got Aquatica?
Yeah. My story where he's like, who wants to win some games? And the crowd erupts, and he's like, and who wants to lose? Nobody made a peep, but I was like, me! And the first ticket that he called out, 200 people standing around this booth. The first ticket was mine. I got a stack of games, and one of them was Aquatica.
Really?
And I no longer have. I don't think I Facebook sold it. That might have been part of what Jimmy won from the contest last year. I don't actually still have it.
Okay.
I could have made your day. Well, that would have been a good story, but the ending was not happy. I'm going to pack Innovation Ultimate. It occurred to me that, you know what, we ought to have our most recent review games available to play with us at the meetup. Like, I'm hoping that Lena brings Ham Helsing so that if somebody's listening, they're like, hey, you guys talked about that game. I'm really curious. We can break it out and be like, well, let's play.
I'm going to be bringing Flow. I love the movie, and it's just something very, very simple to teach and play. And this is a Lena game through and through. She's going to love it.
Oh, nice. How about Catan 3D? I just picked that one up and I thought, you know what? Everybody knows Catan. I'm going to have that available. So somebody's like, oh, look at that version. And they want to break it out. I don't know that I'll be playing it, but it's going to be there and it's going to be available that'll actually be the maiden voyage of my copy of it, but it'll be there.
And then you mentioned it earlier. I'm going to bring It's a Wonderful World because it's been a minute since I played it. And it's such an easy game to teach, play, and everything else. And it looks great too.
I was going to put Emberleaf on there, but that's putting me on the spot for having to learn 2 games between Aquaria and Emberleaf. Emberleaf's on Board Game Arena now, and I clicked the play tutorial, and it was like, in this 73-step tutorial, and I instantly closed the window. I'll do that another day. But it's on my shelf, and I hear great things. The bits look great, so I am very curious about Emberleaf, but I'm going to go with Betrayal at House on the Hill.
Oh.
Bit of an oldie.
Yeah.
My wife loves Betrayal. Our copy of Betrayal is actually her copy of Betrayal.
Oh.
She's going to be at the meetup. You and I are going to have our table. And I was telling Chris, like, yeah, Stu and Brett said, yeah, go ahead and sell used games. Do what you guys want. And Chrissy was like, I'll work the table for you.
Uh-huh.
And I'll make sure that the coffee maker still has. I was like, oh, this is great. So I was like, well, she can't go and not play some games. So I know she'll be able to get a gang of 5 together and start up some Betrayal at House on the Hill.
Well, and the last one is whatever I have in my bag from my work trip. I have a bag that I take with me of relatively simple games to teach people. And so I'll have a bunch of those there, nice, easy ones to just sit down and play. And it's not going to take a lot of mental acuity to go through all the rules. And it's going to be something simple and quick and fun.
Yeah, I always have a handful that are like, this I can play with, like For Sale. Flip 7, like some of the ones that, okay, I don't know these folks. You know, how can we break the ice? Those are just great to have on hand. Well, I'm glad I got to hear your thoughts. You know, it's fun when we get to, like, if we're going to meet up at the shop on a Thursday, and it's like, well, we get to play 2 games. What are we going to play? It's almost always a review game. But when we don't play with each other, like if I'm going out to Brendan's, you know, sometimes we get a chat going ahead of time. Like, what do you guys want to play? Oh, I want to do Zaya. Yeah, we can do Zaya, but that's going to take 4 hours. So we need a small one after that. You know, like some of the thought process that go into it. And it is very different for a meetup like this where we've got to be on the spot. You know, we've got to be available. And it makes it fun.
Yes, that it truly does.
Well, that was a real one. That one wasn't fake. King, we've done it. It's the end of episode 186, and we're going to finish this one the way that we always do, and that is how we leveled up since we last spoke. This one's for Seth. What you got, King?
Okay, well, mine here is kind of a downer, and I apologize for this. My level up is for someone else, a gentleman that I worked with for my social worker safety training, passed away suddenly after we left training on Friday. He drove home. He was going to drive Saturday to North Carolina and hop on a boat and go on a cruise. Well, that night, one of his friends got a call and said, you better get to the hospital. And he passed away that evening suddenly. There was no symptoms or anything. And I was truly glad to have known him. And may he rest in peace, cheering on his beloved Yankees.
Well, that's a day before a cruise. It goes to show maybe a level up is enjoying every day to its fullest.
Exactly.
You just never know.
Truly is.
That took all the wind out of the sails for,
I'm sorry.
for my level up, King. This is gonna be the most dick move I've ever pulled.
Okay.
All right, so okay. At work, we get appreciation points at the bank, which are basically like pound for pound, they're dollars. You can spend them on a website that we have access to, and it's kind of like anything you can imagine is on this way. It's basically an Amazon, but it's like marketed to big, whatever the case. And among the things on there are gift cards. You can just, I can buy this $50 item for $70, or I can just get a gift card for my amount of points and then actually go buy the $50 item for $50. Make sense?
Yeah.
So I had 100 appreciation points. So I got myself a gift card for $100. My boss said, I will also get a gift card for Best Buy for $100 and I will give it to you, but you have to spend it on a PlayStation 5.
Oh.
I was like, well, now we're talking. Like the running joke is going to be, we're going to wait till they want me to play PlayStation with them. And I have a 4. I don't really play video games that often. And I don't know where they think I'm going to come up with the time. Literally, like I got it a week ago, and literally every night for the last week has been like, you want to play now? You want to play now? I'm like, Dad, I can't. I got the little one tonight. I got recording tonight. I got this tonight. Eventually we'll get to. So my level up, is that I got a PlayStation 5.
Ooh, hey, that's pretty darn cool.
Thank you. All right, adventurers. March 22nd, 12 to 7, we're going to be at the Vault in Greensburg. It is potluck style, along with the games that you're packing to play with other people. Do bring a shareable dish. It's going to be a ton of fun. King, get us out of here.
Coming up soon, we have the NFL draft coming to Pittsburgh, and it seemed kind of fitting here.
That's right.
From Vince Lombardi, it's not whether you get knocked down, it's whether you get up.
Shouldn't it be get back up?
Hey, you don't mess with Vince. Thank you, adventurers, for joining us for this episode of the Level Up Board Game Podcast. We encourage all adventurers to check out our website at levelupgamepodcast.com. That's where you can submit your thoughts and audio to be used in a future episode. Please consider rating us on iTunes, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and Instagram, and join the Board Game Geek Guild, Guild 3722. Music for the podcast provided by Adam Haynes and the Heatley Brothers. And remember, whether in hobby or in life, always do what you can to level up.